What's going on, Colts Nation? I appreciate you joining me for another video. We talked about the draft yesterday. We talked about free agency before. I want to go back into free agency, kind of continuing the conversation that we were having and moving on from Brian Burns. This time I want to talk about somebody else that might be cheaper, somebody that might even be more of an effective pass rusher, and that's going to be Danielle Hunter. And this is somebody that I've had my eye on as a football fan for a few years now, a guy that's been really effective for most of his years in the NFL, and a guy that I think showed this past season that he still has it and he deserves the contract that he wants to get. Right. He ended up playing on $17 million for the Vikings this past year, but it just seems like the Vikings don't want to, pay him any more than that. And it seems like he wants to go somewhere where he can make a few extra bucks and probably have a better chance to win at the point that the Vikings are at. Who knows what their quarterback situation is, and that's a pretty big deal. When you look at it, you talk about Danielle Hunter being at the age that he's at. He's been in the league since 2015. And before this season, you're looking at 2018, 2019 being the best two seasons, which were very comparable. He had 72 tackles and 14 and a half sacks in one of those seasons. He had 70 tackles, 14 and a half sacks in another one of those seasons. In his career, he has 5 total seasons where he has more than 10 sacks. And the only reason the other 3 seasons of his career, he didn't get to 10 sacks because he didn't play the entire season. This is a guy that for his career in 8 seasons, he has 87 and a half career sacks. Now you look at what he did in 2023. We talked about the 72 tackles, 14 and a half sacks in 2018. And then you look at 2023. What did he do this past season? Oh, I don't know. He only had 83 combined tackles and he had 16 and a half sacks, the best number of his career. So the argument here going for Danielle Hunter is going to be his age. And his age plays into this for multiple different reasons, right? One, he's going to be pretty close to 30 years old when the next season starts. So you might be able to get a discount because he's going into his 30s, right? If he wants a 3-year contract, he's going to be damn near 33 by the time that contract runs out. So in that regard, like he's not going to get that premium defensive end contract like a guy like Brian Burns would. Brian Burns about to be 26 years old. He's going into his prime right now. He's looking to get max defensive end money. Right, Danielle Hunter isn't going to get that. He probably wants that, but he's being realistic. He's probably not going to be able to swing that. So what do I think the Colts should do? I think they should swoop in with a good offer. They could save money not going after Brian Burns, but instead still get somebody that might be, at least from the numbers, could be more effective than a Brian Burns. Okay, I know physically Danielle Hunter is an absolute freak. So even at 30 years old, he's able to put up these crazy numbers. He's able to still get after the quarterback. He makes plays in the run game. He's an instinctive, smart player and will go for the ball. Like Danielle Hunter is an all-around defensive end. This is a guy that I think could have really helped the Colts pass rush. Okay, and if you're sitting here and if we're comparing Danielle Hunter and Brian Burns, like we talked about the 83 tackles, Brian Burns had 50 tackles. Then you look at the sacks, Brian Burns only had 8, whereas Danielle Hunter had, again, 16 and a half. Then you look at QB hits, Brian Burns 18, Danielle Hunter 22. Forced fumbles, Brian Burns had 1, Danielle Hunter had 4. Like I said, he goes after the football. So Danielle Hunter, again, this is a guy that I've been looking at for a long time, a guy that I thought the Colts should have went after when his first contract was coming up, and I was hoping that he would end up leaving the Vikings. That never happened, but it looks like he could end up leaving the Vikings. Now, the reason you wouldn't do something like this is because you're giving big money to a guy that's about to be 30 years old. Guys like this, at this age, could end up getting the money and then immediately having that fall off, right? Or he goes to a different system, goes to a different team, and just can't find the same level of production. Now, my argument to that is going to be that the Vikings have had some bad defenses since 2015. And Danielle Hunter has still found a way to put up his numbers. Danielle Hunter has still found a way to be a star in the NFL. Doesn't get talked about much because Minnesota, over the years, they haven't done a whole lot of winning. So they tend to get overlooked. Danielle Hunter also tends to get overlooked because he hasn't been, one of those guys that's getting 17, 18, 19 sacks a season, right? He's not TJ Watt. He's not JJ Watt in his prime. But Danielle Hunter showed this past season he can be an absolute game wrecker still. So I would be perfectly fine with the Colts going after Danielle Hunter, and I think it's something that they should seriously consider. You bring him in, have Quiddy as depth. Maybe you even, I don't know if you're going to franchise tag Quiddy Pay and have that much money going towards Quiddy Pay after his contract runs out. So maybe it's only 1 year where you have Quiddy Pay as a depth piece. But I think it's something that the Colts should be seriously considering throughout this offseason, bringing in a guy to be that address. It looks like Josh Allen from the Jaguars probably going to get the franchise tag, and he's going to be a guy that's going to be making huge money from that franchise tag. But Neil Hunter could be a guy that's looking to go elsewhere, and if he is, then by all means, please, Chris Ballard, see what's up with this guy. See if we can swing him. Of course, we have some guys that we need to pay that are in-house guys of Michael Pittman Jr., Kenny Moore, some others that we've talked about in the past. Danielle Hunter needs to be on the list of guys from outside the building that might need to come in, that might be able to boost a defense that we think needs to be more consistent. Now, Gus Bradley's defense, the guys on that defense, there are really good players. There are moments where that defense is absolutely dominant, but the consistency needs to be better. Now, if we can get somebody that can consistently get after the quarterback more, then I think we have a good chance. Danielle Hunter could be that guy. And of course, I'd love to know what you guys think about this move. There really isn't a downside, in my opinion, outside of his age and the possible price that comes with his age and the fall off that might happen. Outside of that, it seems like positive things all about Danielle Hunter. But again, let me know what you guys are thinking. I'd love to know what Colts Nation is feeling about this. So you let me know down in the comments section. And of course, don't forget to subscribe with notifications on. We have videos every single day on this channel. And of course, I appreciate you stopping by for another video. And as always, take care of yourself, take care of each other, and go Colts.